Staying on sugar, after enduring a decade of low returns, prices finally came good. Unfortunately for growers, the turnaround coincided with 2 successive summers of destructive weather. Yet while floods and cyclones slashed growers' yields and profits, another industry sector was booming. Indeed, the scramble for a slice of Queensland's sugar milling sector has had both the industry and the financial media transfixed. Quinton Hildebrand is the boss of Mackay Sugar, the last big mill in Queensland still in Australian hands.
18 months ago, there was one foreign-owned company in the Australian sugar milling industry, and that company accounted for about 12% of the industry milling capacity. Today, there are 4 foreign-owned milling companies which account for over 70%. There have been no less than 5 transactions in the past 18 months, each one with very colourful characters, a twist and a turn and a bit of drama.
I caught up with Quinton Hildebrand after his address. Quinton Hildebrand, welcome to Landline.
Thank you, Pip.
This rash of foreign investment in Queensland mill assets, you described it as a frenzy. What explains the interest in these assets?
Well, from my perspective, I just look at where our industry's gone over the last decade. The industry used to produce 40 million tonnes of cane, and today that's down to 30 million tonnes. So in many respects, we've been a shrinking industry over the last 10 years, and that's been driven by regular increases in production in Brazil. And with a surplus of, at times in the sugar industry, in the sugar market, the prices haven't been good here in Australia. So that has led to the decline in production. Today, we sit here with 30 million tonnes of cane production, but milling capacity for more than that, and port facilities available through which we can export much more sugar. So I believe that the Australian sugar industry offers one of the cheapest expansions in the next couple of years, and that expansion opportunity just really revolves around increasing cane supply. Whereas if you were to go to Southeast Asia or Africa, there's a lack of infrastructure, there's a requirement to put up mills and port facilities for sugar. So this is an opportunity in Australia for the next 10 million tonnes of cane, and I think it's one of the cheapest available around the world, and that is probably what's driving the international commodity houses to take an interest in our sugar industry.
Can you paint us a picture of the demand for sugar in the world at the moment?
Global sugar consumption is pretty predictable. We see it tracking population growth as well as income and affordability. And so as a result of that, whilst you see sugar consumption in the developed market flatlining together with their population growth, in the Asian region you're seeing significant growth, and that's largely driven in China and India and other parts of Asia. So the consumption and the demand for sugar continues to grow at about 2% per annum, and production has been checked by the global financial crisis and the lack of investment in cane growing. So from that point of view, we see that the sugar price needs to rise to bring additional production into being, and those are the prices that we can see available right now. For the next 5 years in the sugar market, you can lock in today at $500 a tonne, and that's probably double the average price that we endured during the last decade.
How long can Mackay Sugar stay Australian-owned?
But that's a matter for the shareholders to determine. I think there are a lot of good prospects for the sugar industry, and Mackay Sugar is well placed to take advantage of those. So we need to keep growing shareholder value, giving back to our shareholders what they expect, and that way they will keep it as it is.
Can you give us a hint about who you're talking to about the sale of Mackay Sugar?
No, it's obviously very topical. We keep our shareholders informed of developments. So, we do that on a regular basis.
If we look at the sale of other mills to overseas companies in other towns, when growers got their share, did that mean a massive wash through of money in the community?
Yes. It depends in the different areas. What we've seen to date is you've had the Tully mill, which roughly half of their shareholders were still growers. The other half were what we call dry shareholders. So, yes, there was a fair amount of money available in that community, not all going to growers though. And obviously they were dealing with the aftermath of Cyclone Yasi. So I think some of that money was probably spoken for.
What's the future for QSL, which markets Queensland sugar? Will some of these overseas companies say, we can sell and market our own sugar, thanks very much?
The arrangements with QSL is a voluntary marketing arrangement. So we all choose to put our sugar through QSL, and we do that because it makes good sense. It provides a good, solid export logistics operation. It provides us with ability to provide sugar to a wide range of markets in Asia without selling our respective tonnages just to one or two companies or one or two countries. So we all get the benefits of the economies of scale of a pooled marketing arrangement. There is opportunity for any one of us to take our sugar through other marketing arrangements if we chose to.
And do you think some of these foreign companies will say, thanks, but we can look after this ourselves?
We hope to demonstrate the benefits of the pooled marketing arrangement, but yes, that remains a risk.
We've seen a consolidation of mill assets. Is the next trend we're going to see in the sugar industry in Queensland a consolidation of grower assets, of farm assets?
I think that it'll be a much longer evolving process, but I do see the trend towards larger growing operations as being the next trend within the industry.
And how do you see that playing out?
I think it'll probably happen on two fronts. I think a number of our existing family-owned businesses will continue to grow, adding on neighbouring entities. Leasing should become more of a more commonplace within the industry. And there are many advantages to the family-owned farm. The nature of a sugar business, a sugar farm, is that there are times of the year when you've got to work 16 hours a day, and that gives you the best outcome for your farm. And there are other times of the year when it's wet, the rainy season, and it's better for you to go down to the beach. So that sort of suits the family-owned business model, whereas the corporate farming model is you need 8 hours a day, even when you don't need it, and 8 hours a day, even when you need 16. So those are the trade-offs. But I think that there will be a growth in some of the family farming operations, but we'll also probably see some investment from corporate growing, and that'll be driven by the capital that is necessary to bring on some of the larger new tracts of land. And much of this is land that used to be under sugarcane, which is coming back in.
Is sugar a good game to be in at the moment? Is it a relief that things are going so well?
Oh, it is. I think the weather conditions of the last 2 years have been incredibly challenging, and we are relieved that this year's shaping up pretty well.
Will the next sugar story in the financial pages be all about Mackay Sugar?
We're hoping that it'll be about the success of our cogeneration plant, which is due to be commissioned during the second half of this year.
Quinton Hildebrand, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Pip.
Incidentally, you'll be able to find Quinton Hildebrand's recent address to the Queensland Rural Press Club on our website under Landline Extra.